Hey everyone, it's Armin from ArmensCraftRoom. Let's check out Kendra's card challenge number 13, sketch number 2. So I've already pre-cut everything. You can check out how to cut the products on Kendra's channel. She's got a video every single time. And I'm flipping over here trying to decide which side of this double-sided paper I'd like to use. I do really like the side with the hearts and the lollipops, and we'll go with that. And just checking the measurements here for the matte layer, and I've got this real red cardstock. It goes with the Sweet Talk DSP from Stampin' Up! That I've used for my pattern paper, and we'll adhere that with an even border. And now we'll trim the white cardstock. And this is the panel that needs to be embossed. It's the long dark gray piece in the sketch, and then I'm going to mount that with the real red cardstock as well. Alright, before I mat that, I'm going to use some rose quartz ink from Alta New to do some ink blending. I thought I had cleaned off this brush well enough, but as you can see, there's still some Flirty Flamingo from Stampin' Up! On there. Rose quartz is not this dark, and you can also see the splotch in the ink pad. So to get rid of that, you can either blot it off the ink pad with paper or tissue, or you can just keep using that section when you blend. I am going to use the Tiled Hearts embossing folder from Spellbinders. I absolutely love this folder. This one's really pretty. I'm just going to place my blended panel in there, and I'm going to follow the sandwich on my die cutting machine. I use a Platinum 6, so it works really well because both of them are Spellbinders products. And I'm going to pull it out. There you go, we've got that texture. I'm going to adhere this to the matte layer. And now I'm going to adhere it to the center of the card as shown in the sketch, making sure that my hearts on the embossing folder are facing up, and I'll decide which direction I like the lollipop to face most, because this is a off-center cut for this pattern paper. And I am going to use the ink that's left over in my brush to blend around the edges of the card just to pull that ink blended color in a little bit more throughout the design. Got a hot foiled Happy Anniversary sentiment. This is a Spellbinders product. The glimmer plates are from Yana's collection, and I've hot foiled them in gold, and I'm just putting some very small 1mm 1/8 inch wide foam strip tape on the back to help pop this up for a little bit of dimension. And it didn't really have enough standout, so I put it on the real red cardstock, and I'm just going to bubble cut around it the best of my ability. And that way it's got a little bit of a shadow there and it's a little bit easier to see. I'm just going to flatly glue that shadow piece down to the card. As you can see, I didn't do a perfect job cutting it, but it does get the job done. Cutting another piece of cardstock down for the card base using the score tool. And now I'm going to adhere this to the card base. And there we have it. Sketch 2 is complete. If you haven't tried Kendra's card challenge, I recommend it. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel here at ArmensCraftRoom on YouTube, and consider turning notifications on. Those pearls are from Hobby Lobby. And finally, I am going to trim down a little bit of real red to put on the interior of the card, just to help bring the design on the inside, give it a little pop of color. I think this is part of what makes handmade cards special, and I do try to decorate the interior of as many cards as possible. Sometimes just a flag or a strip on the bottom will help carry it through. And then there is this strip that you cut that's supposed to be for the inside. That's part of the trim challenge, because Kendra's challenge includes no pattern paper waste. So basically I just matted that on another one, and I like the way that turned out, and I decided to bring in a little bit of ink blending on the interior as well. All right, there we go, finished product. And here we go, sketch 4. This is one of my favorite sketches of Challenge 13. I've made quite a few cards with this sketch. Again, this designer series paper is Stampin' Up, and that's what they call their pattern paper, designer series paper. It's called Sweet Talk. It's a couple years old. I've got some fresh Freesia and some Highland Heather paper, which are the colors in the designer series paper. And I'm trimming them down for matte layers. Cutting out paper C right now. I love that Kendra's puts all the measurements for the mats and the actual cardstock on her sketches, so you know exactly what you're doing and where it's going to go, and the color coordinating makes it really easy to see which pieces need to match the same paper and whatnot. Alright, so I'm making a Highland Heather card base this time. There's that dark gray around the edges. That's the card base, and I thought it'd be fun to make that a color. You can also just cut a panel out and glue it on a white card base if you would rather have the inside be solid white. I'll of course put a panel on the interior of this one. So I did decide to go with the fresh Freesia for the matte layer on this. Mainly because this one piece is mostly Highland Heather, so then I can keep the same matte layer color for all my pieces rather than have different matte layers. I didn't like the way different matte layers was going to look. And that's also part of why I chose the Highland Heather for the bases, because the fresh Freesia is the matte layer. Now this piece of white here that I'm putting down, this is just so that the top layer lays level with the rest of the piece, so that you don't see any flopping after it's glued down. Once it goes through the mail machines and it compresses your card quite a bit, it's a little bit more obvious if you have a flopping card. The base layer with the lollipops probably would have benefited from another layer of cardstock as well, but I didn't think about that before I put it down. So I just like to lay them down without the glue to see where my cardstock is going to go, and then that's how I trim up my scrap paper. Then as you can see, I'm just layering on top. And I do have quite a few things pre-cut and colored. That Love Always is a Spellbinders, and that's a Glimmer Sentiment. It's been glimmered in their pink hot foil, and it's been glimmered onto some gold shimmer paper from Michael's, which is white with gold shimmers on it. It's really pretty. And I did cut the sentiment in half so that it would fit inside my square. You can totally do that when you make these. They don't have to be used as shown on the package. You can absolutely cut them up or only stamp part of it. You know, maybe use the always and put a different word on the front from a different sentiment. That's cool too. Do be careful when you flip over upside down with the hot foil onto one of these sticky mats. This is a silicone mat from scrapbook.com. Silicone will pull the hot foil right off your cardstock. So if you have a lot of hot foil and it's like particularly a solid color, like a background, be careful because you'll end up with patches without. So I did go ahead off camera and add some white interior to, here we go. We're cutting out the white interior here. So this is going to be 4 by 5 1/4, and that'll give me a little bit of a border. And this just makes it easier to write on the interior of the card. And that way you can use any color pen you want. You don't have to worry about having a special pen. Also, the Stampin' Up! Cardstock is a little bit lightweight, so that extra 120-pound white card on the interior helps add a little bit of sturdiness to the card. And here are the finished products here. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe, leaving notifications on, like it, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much.